Every regular player asks the same question at some point in a session. Is this machine ever going to pay? People watch the reels. They count the spins. They look for a rhythm, a tell, a pattern building underneath the lights. And I need to tell you something before we go any further. The machine was never sending you a sign. Not one. It can't. But that doesn't mean the signs don't exist. They do. You've just been looking in the wrong direction the entire time. The real signs that a session is about to go badly were never in the machine. They were in you. And by the end of this, you're going to recognize at least 3 of them. Let's get one thing out of the way immediately, because if I don't, everything else in this video is going to sound like I'm dodging it. If you clicked on this expecting me to teach you how to read a slot machine, how to catch it right before it turns hot, or spot the moment it's about to loosen up, I need to reset that expectation in the first minute, before you spend the next 14 believing something that isn't true. The machine cannot tell you anything. Not through the reels, not through the sounds, not through anything happening on that screen. And by the end of the first sign, you're going to understand exactly why, in a way that actually changes how you sit down at one of these things. But hold on to this through all 5. If the machine can't tell you anything, that doesn't mean there's nothing to read. It means you've been looking in the wrong direction the entire time. The real signs were never on the screen. They're in you, in the room around you, in the 90 minutes you just spent without noticing what you were actually doing. Learn to read those, and you'll understand your own gambling better than any machine could ever tell you, because unlike the machine, you are not random. You're a pattern, and patterns can be read if you're willing to be the one reading them. 5 signs, none of them live on that screen. Here's the first one. Almost everyone who has ever sat at a slot machine for more than 20 minutes has thought this exact sentence. It hasn't hit in a while. It's got to be close. It feels like observation. It feels like you're reading something building in front of you, a machine quietly loading up, getting ready, working its way towards something. It is not doing that. There is no ready. There is no loading. Every spin on a modern machine is generated independently by a random number generator running thousands of calculations a second, and the odds on your next spin are exactly the same whether the last 50 spins paid nothing or paid out 4 times in a row. The machine does not track your session. It doesn't remember what it owes you, because it doesn't owe you anything, and it never has. Here's the part that actually matters, and it's not really about the machine at all. The moment you catch yourself thinking it's due, or it's close, or it's about to turn, that thought is not information about the machine. It's information about you. It's a sign that you've quietly stopped making decisions based on what's actually true and started making them based on what would feel satisfying to be true. That shift is subtle. Almost nobody notices it happening in real time. But it's the first domino, because once your brain accepts that the machine is building towards something, every decision after that gets a little more justified. One more spin isn't reckless anymore. It's patient. You're not chasing. You're waiting for what's coming. Nothing is coming. There was never anything coming. The machine has never once thought about you. It doesn't have the hardware for spite, and it doesn't have the hardware for mercy either. So the first sign is simple to state and hard to catch in the moment. If the story in your head has shifted from what's actually happening to what feels like it should happen next, that story is the sign. Not the machine. You. Before I get into the next one, if that landed, if you've caught yourself thinking some version of that sentence before, the subscribe button costs about 1 second and helps this channel more than you'd think. I'll make the real case for it later. For now, second sign. The second sign is pure math, which makes it the easiest one to check before you ever sit down. Every machine has a minimum bet and a payout structure, and together those 2 things determine something simple: how many spins your money can actually survive before something meaningful has a real chance to happen. Most players never run this number. They sit down with what they brought, they start playing, and they find out the hard way, usually inside the first 15 minutes, that the math was never on their side for that particular session. Say you bring $150 for the night and sit down at a machine with a $5 minimum across its lines. That's 30 spins before you're out completely if nothing meaningful lands. 30 spins sounds like it should take a while. It doesn't. On a modern machine running 2 to 3 seconds a spin, 30 spins is over inside a couple of minutes of actual play once you strip out the pauses between them. You didn't get a session. You got an introduction, and then the door closed before you'd even figured out what the bonus symbol did. Here's the sign, and it has nothing to do with luck. If you can count on one hand the number of spins your bankroll can survive at your chosen bet size, the session was mathematically unlikely to give you anything resembling a real night before it ended, regardless of what any individual spin does. That's not a prediction about spin number 40. It's a statement about whether you're going to see a spin number 40 at all. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple, which might be why so few people actually do it. Match your bet size to your bankroll before you sit down, not after you've already found out the hard way. $150 on a machine with a 50-cent minimum gives you 300 spins instead of 30. Same money, a completely different night, and a completely different set of chances for something good to happen along the way. Third sign, and this is the one most people don't see coming because it's not about losing. It's about winning in a way that isn't actually winning. Modern slot machines run dozens of pay lines at once, sometimes more than 50, all active on a single spin. Which means on any given spin, you can technically win on several of those lines and still walk away with less money than you put in. The machine doesn't distinguish between those two facts when it decides how to react. It sees winning lines and it celebrates. Lights, sound, a little animation, the full performance, triggered by the number of winning lines, not by whether your balance actually went up. So picture this. You bet $2 across 20 lines. 4 of those lines hit. The machine lights up like you just did something. And the 4 combined payouts add up to 80 cents. You just lost $1.20 on a spin that felt, in your body, like a win, because your brain doesn't do the subtraction in real time. The celebration always arrives faster than the math does. Here's why this is worth watching for. If you genuinely don't know, right now in this session, whether you're up or down, that's not a small detail. That's the whole thing. It means the feedback you've been using to decide whether to keep playing has been coming from celebration events instead of your actual balance. And celebration events can fire on a losing session just as easily as a winning one. Sometimes more easily because losing sessions tend to run longer. So the sign is this. If you can answer, right now, without checking the screen, roughly how much you've won or lost tonight, you've stopped tracking the one number that actually matters. And the machine has been more than happy to fill that silence with noise. 2 signs left, and I think you're going to recognize both of these, sometimes uncomfortably. But before that, I want to actually ask you for something here, not just mention it in passing. Everything I've told you so far is the kind of thing casinos spend real money making sure never gets explained this plainly to a general audience. I'm not selling you a course. There's no link, no system, no upsell coming. This channel keeps going because enough people find it useful enough to stick around, and that's genuinely the only mechanism that keeps it alive. If the first 3 signs landed, if you saw yourself in even one of them, here's the honest version of the ask. Hit subscribe before you close this tab because you probably will forget otherwise, and that costs you about a second. I gave you the other 14 minutes. That one's on you. 4th sign, and this one isn't about your thinking at all. It's about the room you're sitting in. Every serious operator in this industry understands one formula, even if they'd never say it out loud to a guest. Revenue is the house edge, multiplied by how much you bet, multiplied by how long you stay, multiplied by how often you come back. 3 of those 4 numbers are mostly about you and your habits. But one of them, the time part, is mostly about the building. And the building has been engineered for decades to make sure you lose track of exactly that. No clocks on the walls, few or no windows, so there's no natural light shift to tell you the day is moving underneath you. Comfortable temperature, comfortable seating, a drink arriving before you've finished the last one. None of that is hospitality for its own sake, even though it's dressed up to feel that way. It's the removal of every external cue your body would normally use to notice that 90 minutes have gone by, or 3 hours, or 5. Here's the sign. If you genuinely could not tell someone, without checking a phone, how long you've been sitting at that machine, that's not a small gap in your memory. That's the room doing exactly the job it was built to do. And it matters, because time is the one variable in that formula that keeps compounding against you the longer you're exposed to it. The house edge on the machine itself doesn't get worse the longer you sit there. But the number of times it gets to apply itself to your money absolutely does. So check the time. Actually check it. On a real clock, not the readout on the machine, because plenty of machines won't even show you one. If the number surprises you, that surprise is the sign, not a feeling, a number you didn't expect to see. Fifth sign, and this is the one that actually decides how the whole night ends more than the other four combined. It starts quietly. You're down some money, more than you meant to be at this point in the evening, and a specific thought shows up, one that feels completely reasonable in the moment. Not much further, just enough to get back to where I started. That thought feels like discipline. It feels like you're being responsible, setting a small, sensible target instead of recklessly continuing. It is not discipline. It's the exact moment your goal for the night silently changed, without a vote, without you actually agreeing to it out loud. Because up until that thought, your goal was to have a good couple of hours. After it, your goal became recovering a specific number. And recovering a specific number from a machine that has no memory, no obligation, and no interest in giving anything back to you specifically isn't a plan. It's a mission with no possible finish line because the machine was never keeping score of what it owed you in the first place. This is the sign that matters most because it's the one that swallows the other four whole. It doesn't matter if you caught the superstition, matched your bet size correctly, tracked your real balance, and noticed exactly how long you'd been sitting there if this fifth one slips past you anyway. Because this is the sign where all your other tools go quiet at once. You stop checking the balance, because checking it might mean stopping, and stopping isn't the plan anymore. You stop noticing the time, because the time isn't the point anymore. Getting back to even is the point, and everything else becomes noise standing between you and that number. The sign is not that you're down money. Being down money is just gambling. The sign is the specific moment the word fun quietly leaves the sentence in your head and gets replaced by a word like need, or mission, or just one more to fix this. If you can catch that exact substitution while it's happening, you have the only real power anyone has in that building. The power to stand up before the mission finishes making the decision for you. So there they are. 5 signs a slot machine isn't going to pay you, and every single one of them was on your side of the glass the whole time. Telling yourself a story about a machine that's due. Sitting down with a bet size your own bankroll can't survive. Celebrating a spin your balance actually lost. Losing track of how long you've been in that chair. And letting the word fun quietly get replaced by the word mission. None of those live on the screen. All 5 of them are checkable in real time by you, which is honestly better news than anything a machine could ever tell you, because a machine can't be caught paying attention to itself. You can. Now the real ask, not the quick version from earlier. If you made it this far, you're clearly the kind of person who wants the honest version of how this industry works instead of the comfortable one, and there aren't a lot of places that hand you that without trying to sell you something on the way out. This channel is one of them, and it only stays that way because people like you decide it's worth 15 seconds to hit subscribe and leave this video a like before you go. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't matter, because it does, directly, to whether this kind of breakdown keeps getting made. So if any of these 5 signs made you think of a specific night you've actually had, that's the video doing its job, and subscribing is the only way to make sure you catch the next one before you need it. Here's the last thing I'll leave you with. The house doesn't need to rig a single reel. It never has. It just needs you to stop watching the one screen that was always telling the truth. And that screen was never the one in front of you. It's the one behind your eyes.